Have you ever sat down to do something important, and within seconds, your mind ran somewhere else? If that's you, then this story might change the way you see focus forever. We live in a world drowning in noise, messages, distractions, endless movement. Our minds jump from one thing to another so fast that we rarely stay long enough to truly understand anything. Most people think focus is a trick, a shortcut, a button you can switch on whenever you want. But focus is not something you find, it is something you build in the quiet moments most people run away from. This is the story of Kaido, a young scholar who wanted to master everything, but could not stay still even for a single moment. At just 20 years old, Kaido arrived at the gates of Cloud Reach Monastery, clutching a pile of journals and calligraphy brushes. His robe was wrinkled from the climb. His glasses slipped slightly down his nose. His eyes moved constantly, from the mountains to his notes to the courtyard. His fingers tapped nervously. His mind was already racing ahead. He pushed open the heavy gate and stepped inside. In the center of the courtyard sat Master Sora beside a still pond, calm, unmoving, silent. He wore a simple robe and carefully threaded a needle through a single lentil with steady hands. A dragonfly rested on his shoulder, perfectly still. Kaido hurried toward him. "I want to master knowledge," he said quickly. "I want to learn everything." Sora listened, then quietly pointed toward a small stone cell. "Go inside," he said. "Watch the candle." Kaido frowned but obeyed. He entered the dark cell, lit the candle, and sat down. The flame flickered softly. At first, he watched carefully. Then, the battle began. His mind wandered to food, to time, to all the things he thought he should be learning instead. A crack in the wall stole his attention. A faint sound outside pulled his eyes away. He turned his head, and when he looked back at the flame, it was still there, but his attention was gone. He groaned, stood up, and began pacing the room. His shadow shook across the walls. Outside, Sora stirred a pot of broth, watching the steam rise with the same quiet precision. By the third day, Kaido stormed out in frustration. "This is pointless," he said. "I came here to learn something important." Sora looked at him and said slowly, "A man who cannot watch a flame cannot watch his own life." That sentence hit harder than Kaido expected. The next morning, before the mist had even cleared, he returned. This time, he left everything outside. No journals, no brushes, no distractions. He sat down, lit the candle, and watched. His thoughts came again, but now, instead of chasing them, he noticed them and let them pass. Each time his focus drifted, he brought it back, again and again and again. Days passed, then weeks, and slowly Kaido began to change. His hands stopped tapping, his eyes stopped darting around, his breathing slowed. Now he could sit in the courtyard and watch a single drop of water form at the edge of a roof. He watched it grow, tremble, fall, and he did not miss a single moment. Then, one afternoon, a master builder rushed into the monastery carrying a tangled mass of silk threads and glass beads. "It's ruined," the builder said. "The more I try to fix it, the worse it becomes." The threads were pulled in every direction, twisted into a tight knot. Kaido stepped forward, but he didn't touch it. He simply sat down and looked. His eyes moved slowly across the tangle. He followed each thread, saw where they crossed, saw where the pressure tightened.
Minutes passed. The builder grew impatient. "Do something!" But Kaido remained still. Then finally, he moved. Slowly, he reached into the center of the knot, found a single hidden loop, and gave it one gentle pull. The entire tangle loosened at once. The threads fell apart. The beads settled into silence. The builder stared, speechless. That evening, Sora walked over to Kaido, who still stood quietly beside the table. After a long silence, Sora said, "You see clearly now." Kaido lifted his eyes. Sora continued, "Focus is not something you force. It is something you return to, again and again. When you first came here, your mind was like those knots, pulling in every direction, tightening everything. But over time, you stopped chasing every thought. You stopped reacting to every distraction. You learned to stay." Kaido took a slow breath, and in that moment, he understood. Focus is not control. It is not pressure. It is not force. It is presence. And that is what most people never learn. So let me ask you something. What is the one thing in your life you know you need to give your full focus to right now? Write it in the comments. And if you've ever struggled with distraction, type focus below. Because every time your mind drifts and you bring it back, you are training a power most people never build. Stay with it. That's where your strength begins.